10-4.
10-4 rubber ducky.
Good evening and welcome. It's KVC-Arts, arts and entertainment in our region as well as the people and places providing it. I'm Sahar Khadjenoury. Tonight is music and conversation with dark country musician and filmmaker Pete Sands of Blackkiss. And you can find his and other artist music videos on the Aboriginal Unity Experience, the Indigenous music video series from FNX, fnx.org/theox.
Nobody hurt. Another suicide, that's just the worst.
Follow these demons to save your soul. Save Your Soul. We'll be talking about that video and more. But first, we're going to start with introducing our guest, Mr. Pete Sands.
Yate, she Pete Sands with you. She Montezuma Creek, Utah, didn't I? My name is Pete Sands, and I'm from Montezuma Creek, Utah. Good to be here.
And we're really excited to have you here. So can you tell us what language you just introduced yourself in?
I just spoke in my native tongue, the Navajo Indian language, where I come from the Navajo Nation, Utah portion of the Navajo Nation.
A cool little tidbit that I don't think many of our listeners might know is that you and I went to the same high school together. We were the White Horse
High School Raiders.
Woohoo!
Yes, shout out to White Horse High School. Hosts the Blackkiss show every once a year, annual Blackkiss show, Montezuma Creek, Utah.
Pete, our community is so proud of you, and you have so much love and so much support, and you've just developed this amazing fan base, both within our community and even into a broader Native community and even non-Native. So I'm really excited that you're on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your double role. You are a musician, but you're also a filmmaker. And your first short film project was a music film called Save Me. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, my good friend Fernando, he's from Seattle. I could have that wrong, but I think he's from Seattle. He reached out to me, he's asking me if I could make a music video, and he couldn't be in the area, so he says, you got to kind of, do what you do with it. And so I listened to the song, and the song spoke to me it just spoke to me in the way I made it, I guess. And it's a short film about angels and demons and a demon hunting an angel for a debt that she owed him. And it was something that I did on the fly. I like the fact, guerrilla filmmaking, which is like you just go with what your gut instinct is, and the whole handheld feel about it is what I really like about it. And I really love the way it came out, especially the film version of it, which has the intro, which I introduced the film and the character. And you were on it too, Sahar. You're in it. I got you in it. Filmed it outside of Salt Lake City, Utah, in the desert, and it came out really great. That's where I learned all about editing and color correction, which is very important to any film, is color correction.
There's an ancient story of an angel who fell in love with a human, but the heavens forbid such things, so she sought out the help of a demon, and he granted her wish. But the demon warned her, one of these days, I'll come calling, you better answer. That's the deal. So she loved. She got to love. But life as we know it is unpredictable, and one day, the love of her life passed on. And this death drove her mad. So when the demon came calling, she ran as far as she could, and the demon chases. Word is that the demon caught up with her somewhere in New Mexico, cornered her, some ancient hollow grounds. Don't really know what happened.
Speaking of angels, I noticed a trend or a reoccurring theme in a lot of your projects. How do angels come into play in your life?
That is a very good question. That's something I ask myself all the time. What's this obsession with angels, which is, I think it's connected to my whole thing with crows and ravens. But, as a kid growing up in a reservation, you would go to vacation Bible school, mainly just so you can have your free punch and cookies. But, you go there and they teach you this whole new concept of what God and being is, partly separate from your own culture, indigenous cultures, the Navajo culture. But as I grew older and I had people from both sides, from the Christian side, the Catholic side, and my own Navajo side, which had shamans and medicine men and medicine women, they would tell me that all religions are the same in a certain way. We're all connected in some way. So as I became more creatively intuitive, I just started making these connections. It just seemed to fit so well together. And the idea of indigenous angels, it just seems so out there that my first short story I wrote about angels back in college, my professor was like, "Where did you come up with this?" And to me, it didn't seem that radical to think Native Americans can be angels. And that kind of made me think, like, what's indigenous people categorized as is just who people see on TV. And sometimes Native Americans, we do it to ourselves. We keep ourselves in a box. But we have to branch out of there. And it's not like I wasn't trying to be different. It just came out that way, I guess. Yeah.
I dig it, and it works. I also see angels in what you allude to or you'll reference in a lot of your music that you play and that you perform. And I like that idea. And when you come out with a new project, I look for it, like, okay, I wonder, does this fit into that piece, like that puzzle piece that is, Pete Sands and his vision. And so the videos that we broadcasted here on the Aux on FNX, In the Dark, Hell Dorado, Indian Girl, and something that we shot here was I'm on Fire.
Yeah.
How did you gravitate toward that song? Because you do it well.
Well, I always tell the story because last time I was in Flagstaff, Arizona, 2 months ago, I had a show out there. I stopped at the Maverick out there in Flagstaff, putting us some gas, and some lady's like, "Hey, aren't you the I'm on Fire guy?" So it was, I've been linked to that song now, but I actually learned it from my good friend Whitey Morgan. After a show we had together, he told me, you need some Bruce Springsteen in your life, and so he taught me how to play that song. And then I heard the White Buffalo, another good friend of mine. I heard his version of it, which is more acoustic, because Whitey's version is more honky tonk. And so I was listening to both of them, and I was thinking, somewhere in there, it just feels right to try to play it my own way. So I spent a lot of time in my garage where I rehearse a lot, and it just came through. You visualize something. Whenever young people ask me about putting on a show and what songs they should cover, I always tell them, you have to cover songs you can relate to. You can't just cover something just because it's popular, because you will be linked to that song, and you have to be able to understand and explain why you chose that song and why it means something, because that song does mean something to the fans out there of that person who wrote it. I'm on fire. And when I sang it just opened up something in me. It's just like, it's hard to describe. It's like you finally find a song someone else wrote that you could have wrote yourself. I think that's the best explanation I can give for that. Well, hey, little girl, is your daddy home? Did he go away, leave you all alone? Got a bad desire. Oh, I'm on fire. Tell me now, baby, is it good to you? Does it do to you things that I do? Oh no, I can take you high. Oh, I'm on fire. Sometimes it's like someone took a knife, baby, edging down, cut a 6-inch valley through the middle of a mile. go. Now you wake up when the sheets soaking wet and the freight train running through the middle of my head, and you can cool my desire. Oh, 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 I'm on fire. Oh, 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 I'm on fire. Oh, oh, girl, I'm on fire.
That dedication to the lyrics and your delivery, I think that's what really makes you stand out. Indian Girl is a new video that and a new song that you've released since your first interview on KVCaRts. Indian Girl it's really almost haunting. How did you, where were you? Where was your mindset at when you were writing these lyrics?
I think when I wrote Indian Girl, I was in the beginning of kind of like finding your way into another relationship after being out of one for so many years, and you just, when people ask you, what are you looking for in another person, of which everybody was always asked that question, and I never had an answer for it. So one day when I was at my house and I was reading this thing on the album covers of a Waylon Jennings album. It's called Belle of the Ball. And if you ever heard of Waylon Jennings' song Belle of the Ball, he talks about it's not about a woman. He's singing about the industry. But to me, I was thinking, what if he was writing this about a woman? This is like a really romantic song for Waylon Jennings, kind of like Waltz Me to Heaven. And so I went downstairs, and people always ask me about Indian Girl and how I wrote it. I wrote that whole song at that moment, right there. I was just playing along the chords, and I felt the rhythm, like I knew it was already there. This was the rhythm I knew for some reason. And then the words just came out. So within a span of having that mere thought, the thought of writing a song, which took about 5 minutes, walked downstairs, sat in my garage for another 5 minutes. Within that time span, I wrote that whole song. This one's called Indian Girl. I'm sitting all alone, taking care of the fire. I see you over there, dancing with the elders, moving your feet in your old moccasins, looking so pretty in the dress your mama made. They tell me I'm lucky to have a woman like you, but I've always known that since I first seen you, with your big brown eyes and your long dark hair. You take everything and make it much better. I can't lie to you, it's simply the truth. My beautifully strong Indian girl. I love how you sit right beside me when we're driving all alone through the desert country. You fix your hair without a strand out of place, and you pull me out to dance at the old ceremonies. You tell me I'm lucky to have a woman like you, but I've always known that since I first seen you, with your big brown eyes and your long dark hair. You take everything and make it much better. I can't lie to you, it's simply the truth. My beautifully strong maestro, ending girl. So it's just one of those songs that just comes out of you. You know, it's a song about truly appreciating the person you're with and what they bring to the table. And that's something I would never have written 5 years ago. But I think age catches up with everybody and gives you a different perspective of life. And it's, I remember hearing Chris Cornell when they asked him when he wrote the Audioslave song, Be Yourself, he explained it kind of like that. He says, 10 years ago, I would never wrote a song like this, but I'm comfortable in my own skin now to be able to really express the different parts of me that no one's ever really seen. And it's very vulnerable to put yourself out there like that. But Indian Girl has such a positive response from people, and especially in the indigenous community, they really like it. And even at Slumfest in Nashville, man, people love that song. So there's something to it. I just don't know what it is, but I keep playing it.
So many of us relate to it, I think. Or maybe we want to be that Indian girl that you're singing about.
Maybe, I don't know. You know, it is one of those songs where it was one of my easiest ones to write, but it wasn't easy to play in front of other people, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I could see that. You know, you're vulnerable at that moment.
Yes.
Right? Speaking of vulnerability, I know that when you're producing, whether it's music videos or films or music, you're really putting yourself out there. And I think your most recent project, putting yourself out there, was another short film about angels.
Yeah.
Do you care to elaborate? And what is the title of your most recent piece, and where did you submit it to?
I had this piece. I had a friend of mine in Vegas. His name is Alex. He used to manage a cigar lounge out there. And he found me on Instagram. And he's like, Pete, man, I'm so enamored by your Instagram layout, your pictures and everything, the way you see the world. You can bring other people into your world just by a picture. And said, okay. So he says, let's do something together. So a couple months later, I came back through Vegas. And I had my camera, and he asked, let's go do something. I said, all right, go buy yourself some clothes that you would like to see yourself in. And he comes back wearing a Western shirt that I wear.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, I was like, okay. And we went out to Red Rock Canyon, and we went out there and we shot, which is a beautiful place. And I didn't have a plan at the moment. He just wanted some footage of him that was shot by me. So I think me, like, instinctively or just subconsciously, I was thinking about something already, and I did these shots of him walking and smoking a cigar, and I just kept it at that, and he thanked me for bringing him into this world. This guy has thousands of followers, but he chose to come into my world. So if you look at his pictures, at his layout, his name is Alex Cigar Dandy is his Instagram name, but he has beautiful pictures like of him from other photographers. Then you see the one that we took of him, and it looks nothing like he's ever done. And it's a huge compliment to me when people ask me to bring them into my world, because I don't think my world's that exciting or anything, but it's about freedom and creativity, to be somebody you wanted to be. So when I took the footage back, and the LA Skins Fest here in Los Angeles, they asked me to submit something to them. I told them, I don't have anything. So they're like, you got a week and a half. Can you shoot something in a week and a half? So I said, I got some footage of a buddy of mine in LA, and I'm in Vegas, but he's just smoking a cigar, so it's not really anything. So I put together this script real quick, and I asked a friend of mine, Cassandra Legay, to be in it. And Alex, I told Alex, yeah, I'm going to get these good actors to be in it. He says, no, I want you in it. And I said, why? He says, I came into your world, and it won't be fair if you're not in it. So you have to be in your own world. So I put it together, and I put myself in it, and took a week to shoot it, and had you voiceover as well, Sahar Khadjenoury, voiceover artist.
It was supposed to be anonymous.
And it came together really well, because when I showed it to the people who I was supposed to show it to, they're like, dude, this is like like a comic book, like he brought a comic book to life. And somehow the Sundance Film Festival people got a hold of it. I don't know who sent it to them. I didn't send it to them. But they wrote me back saying, you got to make a feature-length film with this. You got to. Because we need different filmmakers. And this story you have here, there's something here. And they, you know, Native Americans and angels, there's something there, man. You got to make something. So the short film I made with Alex, Cassandra, Sahar, and I is called Dirty Wings. It's about angels who are half-breed, half-human, half-angels, and debts that need to be collected. And yeah, it turned out really good. I mean, I made myself look good, which is good.
If you're reading this, then it was meant for you to read. Let me start with this. Angels are real, no matter what you believe. I know. I fell in love with one.
I love working with other people, especially people who come from different cultures, because Alex is Serbian, 6'7" Serbian guy, and he wants to be a cowboy his whole life, and he got the chance to be a cowboy. He was so happy and honored that I let him wear my hat in the video. He was shaking when I gave him my hat. I was like, dude, it's just a hat, dude. Just wear it. He says, no, this is you. This hat is you and your power. You don't understand. I said, I think I'm starting to. But he was really good to work with. You know, it's always fun to try something new and challenge yourself. You don't have to have the best equipment. You don't have to have the $1,000 cameras. You know, it's limitations that unlock your creativity, and that's what I like about it.
You mix it up.
Yeah. It's important to keep an open mind.
That open mind most recently can be seen reflected in your music video. You did a collaboration with Joey Styles.
Yes.
Save Your Soul. Hello. Wow. Country music meets hip hop meets visual artistry. Wow. How did this come about? And what was that process like?
Joey hit me up last year. Like, he found me on Instagram like everybody else does. And he shot me a message asking, he said he was a fan of mine. And I was a fan of Joey's for years before that. And at the time, I wasn't really looking forward to branch out from the country Americana scene I was a part of. But Joey Styles, he's one of the most prolific rappers in Canada. He's an indigenous rapper, but he's more than that. He's beyond the label of just being just an indigenous rapper. He's a good rapper. He's a great hip-hop artist. And there's many of them like that, many indigenous artists who are undiscovered or people haven't heard of them yet. And I was just very thankful that he chose to reach out to me. And he reached out to me and asked me if we wanted to write a song together. And I said, yeah, we'll try something together. And so I had a hook that I had a song that I had written, and he asked me to write a hook and just send him some ideas. So I sent him some guitar chords and a song with the chorus that I wrote, and I sent it to him. And him and his producer, they made a beat to it, and they sent me just a rough cut in it. I was like, all right, this sounds pretty good. And just like any person who's ever done something for the first time that's completely out of the norm, I was a little nervous because I didn't know how it was going to come out. And so it took about 6 months to do, 6 months to finish the song because we're both so busy. But like a month before it was released, he sent me the final version. I was blown away. I was like, this is candy. This is a gem. And I was very excited to see how people would react to it, especially because Joey, he's worked with many different artists, and I've never really worked with many others, and so I was really curious to how people would react to it, and the response to me has been tremendously positive. And we are on the Indigenous Music Countdown in Canada, and last I checked, we were number 11, so getting up there, Sirius Radio, satellite radio countdown.
Bravo.
Started from 40, now we're 11. So
wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
How many other would it take to get me? When I'm gone with my bros, rap represent. I don't know, at least not for sure. Nail on the coffin, this life's a blur. So I proceed with a pocket full of trees. My medicine bag and spirit of a G.
Can't talk about it just yet, but there's another hip hop song that I'm working on with Joey and some guys. I can't even talk about anybody, so I can't mention any names. Like, I wish I could say who, but it's the part of the business. You can't tell until they say it's okay.
Oh yeah, but I was thinking this would be a KVC-Arts, FNX, all exclusive. But I guess we'll have to wait for that.
I'll call in and tell it.
Singing to the moon, a lonesome song. But if I knew that you would walk away, now even looking back, I would be sorry to